Hello and welcome to Unplayably Overpowered, our series where we use Earth's AI to make cards, specifically looking for the overpowered ones. And once again, not just, wow, that's really good for Magic, but holy crap, that's completely unreasonable even for AI. That's what we're looking for. Now, in our endeavor, we are going to be saving a variety of cards, not every card, but just a lot of them. In the first episode, I didn't really save anything. I was looking only for the creme de la creme, and we failed to find it. So instead, I'm going to save things that are still pretty cool and still pretty pushed, so that we have plenty of cards to go through in our final tier list video in the far future, which I don't know how many episodes we're going to do before tier list, honestly. Absolutely no clue. But I think I saved like 3 cards last time, so I might have overcorrected. Oh well, we shall see. For episode 3, our theme is Devil Cupcake. I don't really know why people have left comments about just the silliest names that they've used in their own forging and gotten some really bonkers stuff, so maybe I'll just throw a curveball at the AI and see how it reacts. I do feel like Devil Cupcakes would have made more sense, but oh well, it's Devil Cupcake. Let's take a look at our first card. Primal Punishment is a 2-mana red instant. Discard a card at random. If it's a creature card, Primal Punishment deals damage to any target equal to the discarded card's mana value. Do you have to choose the target before it gets discarded or not? I'm not entirely sure how the ruling works. Either way, this isn't very good. If you only had creatures in your hand and you could guarantee you're going to hit something, you could go, do some pretty above rate damage, which is kind of cool. But the fact that it needs to hit creatures is really limiting, and I guess in a Madness this could be kind of interesting. I'd be curious if this would be useful in a Madness deck. Not unplayably overpowered, but interesting if it has. I think it does have a use case if you were playing, like, legit Magic. Oathsworn Huntmaster is a 5-mana 5/3. It is a black devil. When Oathsworn Huntmaster enters the battlefield, if you control another devil, sacrifice it. Okay, cool. Cruelty of Cats. It's a 6-mana 6/6 red devil. It has flying, it has trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Cruelty of Cats, then sacrifice it unless you pay red. So it's got upkeep of red, but gains a counter every turn. I like this card. This card's not, like, amazing. It's probably not even that great. It's a 6-mana 6 flying and trample, which is already good, don't get me wrong, but, like, have you seen dragons? But yeah, it's got an upkeep of 1 and it gets a counter. I would play this. This card looks cool, but yeah, not what we're looking for today. Necrotic Ripper is a 4-mana red devil. It is a 2/3 with menace. Whenever a creature is dealt damage by Necrotic Ripper, whenever a creature dealt damage by Necrotic Ripper this turn dies, Necrotic Ripper deals damage to any target equal to that creature's power. Oh. So it's a 4-mana 2/3, which is not great, and then it's got menace, which means it's probably gonna not get blocked. So it's only really gonna start the chain if it blocks something, which is pretty hard to, like, make happen because your opponent can play around that. And then if it does, you're going to be able to start doing some pretty silly stuff because it's not dealt combat damage, right? So you're going to deal damage and kill something, and then deal damage and kill something, and deal damage and kill something, and deal damage and kill something, and keep a chain going and, like, wipe the board. But that might not actually line up. That might not actually, like, work. So it's way too much shenanigans to be strictly overpowered. It's just like, oh, there's like a cool thing you could maybe try and do. Ravager of the Foul Flux is a 4-mana 3/3 black vampire with flying. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player may sacrifice a creature. If that player does, they draw 2 cards and you gain 2 life. Wow! What a weird card. Definitely not unplayably overpowered, but, like, wow, that's so interesting. It's giving your opponent the choice, and they get to draw 2 cards if they do it. So unless you care about your opponent drawing cards, or you gaining life, this is probably just bad. This would be like a fun card in like a commander game, though, I think. Everyone would be like, ah, do I want that? Do I not want that? That's useful for me. That's useful for someone else. You know, like, an interesting, like, politicking card. Don't attack them. They'll block with a Ravager, and then we won't get this cool benefit anymore. I don't know. It seems interesting, but very, very weird. Horror of Trialbrand. Cool. 5 mana, 3/4 red devil. Tap, target player discards a card. Activate only if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard. That's a pretty, like, reasonable limitation. And straight up just, like, forcing a card discard every turn is very powerful. But it is 5 mana. Needs to stick on the board for a turn before you can start doing it. And it has a limitation. I think this is a good card and not an completely overpowered card. Cool. Drowned Almond is a 4 mana 2/2 black devil. This is such a weird name. I guess I did say Cupcake, didn't I? Swamp Walk. Creature can't be blocked as long as the defending player controls the swamp. And black regenerate Drowned Almond. Cool. I like regenerate. Skulking Geist is a 5 mana 3/4 black zombie. Skulking Geist can't block. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Skulking Geist this turn dies, Skulking Geist deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Okay, so it's a less flexible version of... Oh, that much damage. Wait. Right, it's whenever a creature dealt damage by Skulking Geist this turn dies, Skulking Geist deals that much damage. Huh, that's so interesting. I mean, there is a damage being referred to in the text, so if somehow Skulking Geist could do like 20 damage to a creature, it would then do 20 damage to that creature's controller. I bet there is an OTK combo in here. I don't know what it is. I don't know how you could force this creature to do a lot of damage to a creature. I guess like with like equipment or like some kind of buffs you could do it maybe. Like, it can't block even though. This card's weird. I like it. Devouring One is a 5 mana 5/5 red devil. Sacrifice Devouring One, return Devouring One to its owner's hand. Activate only if you control a devil or devil creature. That is weird. It's kind of like instant speed return this to your hand, but you get a death trigger, which might matter to other effects. That's fun. I don't know if it's good, but it's fun. Huh. There have been a lot of high-cost cards so far. Hopefully we can get around that. Get away from that. Infamous Guild Pact is a 3 mana 3/2 black devil. Sacrifice Infamous Guild Pact. Each player draws 2 cards. No, thank you. Hazda Handler. Wait. Yeah, Hazda Handler is a 4 mana 2/2 black human wizard. Tap, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Not good enough for me, if you ask me. There we go. There we go. Rough and Tumble is a 3 mana red instant. Rough and Tumble deals damage to target creature equal to the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. Probably never worth it, but cool. Drown Yard Devil is a 3 mana 3/1 black devil. Sacrifice Drown Yard Devil. Target player loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Hapless Devil is a 3 mana 2/1 red devil. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Hapless Devil. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with flying. Ooh, I like this one. Oh, that's fun. 3 mana for a 2/1, not very good. If it survives the turn, on your upkeep, you sacrifice a creature, and you get a counter. When that creature was sacrificed. It's not whenever a creature dies, it's whenever you sacrifice a creature, so it's a lot more limiting, but still, cool. You sacrifice a creature, you make a 1/1 red devil creature with flying. That is sometimes going to be better than what you sacrificed, although it won't have haste, so it has to sit on the board. And from now on, you can just always sacrifice that token, potentially, right? It's going to grow pretty slowly, but pretty consistently. I like it a lot. I don't think it's overpowered, but I do kind of want to save it anyway, because I like it, and I think it's worthy of discussion. Terran Gorefiend is a 5-mana 6/6 red elemental horror. Whenever Terran Gorefiend or another red or green creature dies, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 4/4 red elemental creature token with trample. That's pretty good. 5-mana 6/6 I don't think is too pushed to be printable or anything, so, like, whatever. And you have to pay. It doesn't just always give you the 4/4, but I mean, it's a pretty good rate. If you got some like token stuff, I can see this. I can see this working. Cool. We've mostly been red in this entire series, haven't we? Maddened Devils is a 3-mana 3/2 red devil. When Maddened Devils enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X until in a turn where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. That seems perfectly reasonable. I like this card. I don't think it's broken. Grim Grinning Devil is a 4-mana 2/1 black devil with flying, 4 black. Grim Grinning Devil gets +1/+1 until in a turn. Cool, simple, perfectly reasonable. Pit Fiend is a 5-mana 3/3 red devil with flying. Red Pit Fiend deals 1 damage to any target. Useful pinger. Insatiable Hunger is a 2-mana 2/1 red devil. When Insatiable Hunger dies, create 2 food tokens. That is cute. I don't think that's, like, when I say unplayably overpowered, I mean cards that, like, you would feel bad to play it against someone. It's that strong. I think this is a very interesting use case, especially in, like, an artifact deck or something. Like, that's pretty cool, but it's not, like, you're not gonna feel bad about it. You're not gonna be like, dang, I feel slimy for doing this. Marble Fawn is a 3-mana 1/1 black vampire cleric. Tap, target player mills a card, activate only as a sorcery. Sure, why not? Devil of the Deep is a 2-mana 2/2 red devil. Devil of the Deep can't attack unless the main player controls an island. That is very funny. Rake the Graves is a 2-mana red instant. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample, and when this creature enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless actually colorless, okay, was spent to cast this spell. So it's, first of all, it's creatures you control, so even if they got that ability while on the stack, which I don't think they do, but if they did, it's only a bad thing. You can't play it on your opponent's turn and make them sacrifice their board whenever they play something, which would be very funny. Instead, it's only creatures you control, creatures that are actually creatures, not just spells. So having that effect wouldn't matter, I don't think, because it's an ETB. Unless you had something that was like trigger all ETBs or something, which might exist. Otherwise, it gives your creatures trample until end of turn. That's all it does. I'm overthinking this. That's all it does. It's a cool card and probably pretty good in a lot of decks, but not unplayably. Soul Stealer is a 4-mana 3/3 black demon, not a devil. It has flying, and whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a soul counter on Soul Stealer. For 3 mana, regenerate Soul Stealer. The soul counters are never used. That's a shame. If those soul counters were used for something, I like the idea of, like, yeah, a player's cast a spell, you get to steal the soul of that spell and put it on the thing, and that does something, but it doesn't actually do anything, so unfortunate. Cyclonic Rift, known broken card. Let's take a look. Cyclonic Rift is a 3-mana black instant. Cyclonic Rift deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain 3 life. While that's pretty pushed in, I think, probably in proper Magic, not pushed for AI Magic, so moving on. Phyrexian Devil is a 2-mana 1/1 black Phyrexian Devil. That makes sense. It has flying and generic and black. Sacrifice Phyrexian Devil. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. If that went to the battlefield, I'd include you in the list, but no. Weaponize is a 2-mana red instant. Exile target creature you control and gain life equal to its toughness. That seems bad. Usually. It's kind of cool. It's sacrifice target creature to get to gain life, but A, getting life is usually not that great of an effect, and B, it exiles, so you don't even get the, like, death trigger if you were sacrificing something that cares about dying. It's pretty bad. Devil Pact Marauder is a 4-mana 3/3 black devil. When Devil Pact Marauder enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. I like this. I feel like this isn't even that pushed. I feel like we could see this in proper Magic. I just like it. It's just exactly the kind of thing I want to do. It's bundling. We're getting a murder on a 3/3 body for 4 mana. That's like a 1-mana 3/3. Which, honestly, we could do better than that. This is AI Magic. I'm sure we can get better than a 1-mana 3/3. Oh, I hope by the end of the series we have something better than a 1-mana 3/3. Devil of the Familiar is a 4-mana 3/3 red devil. When Devil of the Familiar enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named Devil of the Familiar. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. I mean, that effect is known to be very strong, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to feel bad about playing it. Bad Cop is a 4-mana 3/3 black devil. Sacrifice Bad Cop. Exile target card from a graveyard. Boo! Hellion of Outrage is a 5-mana 4/4 red devil. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Hellion of Outrage deals 2 damage to each opponent. That's pretty good. I think that's just like a completely reasonable Spellslinger card, though. Like, you just throw this in an Izzet deck, you'll have a great time. I don't think anyone's gonna feel like it's overpowered. I don't know, maybe my standards are too high. Fiendish Fiend is a 4-mana 3/3 black devil. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Fiendish Fiend and sacrifice it unless you pay black. So it's that same effect we saw previously, but in black, and it's for 2 mana instead of red. Black, create a 1/1 black demon creature token with, when this creature dies, create a demon creature token. Oh no, this card's actually broken because it doesn't tell us what the creature is. It just creates a demon creature token. I think that the way you'd run this is that if the power and toughness are not specified, they're by default 0/0. It's like if you make a land into a creature and you didn't say what the power and toughness were of the land, it would just die instantly because it would be defaulted to a 0/0. So I think this creates a 0/0 demon creature with when this, yeah, which, like, if you have some kind of lord, some kind of give all your creatures +1/+1 effects, that's not bad. Create a 1/1 that when it dies creates a 0/0. And if you care about things dying, maybe all you care is that your 1/1 got sacrificed and then it made another thing that died immediately. Although I am, like, adding rules in context, right? It does not actually say create a 0/0 demon creature token, so maybe it's unreasonable for me to theorize how strong that would be. Either way, is that good enough? It's a 4-mana 3/3. Like, it's coming down pretty late. I really feel like you gotta be cheap if you want to be overpowered. Oh well. Demented Dungeon Rats is a 3-mana black zombie. It's a 2/2. When Demented Dungeon Rats enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Ah, come on, you could have done better than that. You can always go to the battlefield instead of the hand. Boneyard Devourer. 3-mana 2/2 black devil. When Boneyard Devourer enters the battlefield, each player discards a card. That's fine. It's perfectly reasonable, perfectly playable. I'd run it, but it's not broken. Bloodhunter Vampire, 2-mana 1/1 black devil, flying. For black, regenerate Bloodhunter Vampire. I like this card. This card's nice. Horned Devil is a 4-mana 4/3 black demon, flying. Black Horned Devil gains haste until end of turn. Cool. It's either a 4-mana 4/3 or a 5-mana 4/3 with haste. Akroma's Memorial Mage is a 3-mana 2/2 black human wizard. It has flying. When Akroma's Memorial Mage dies, you gain 3 life. Cool. That's nice. Necropraxis Priest, that's a great name, is a 3-mana 2/2 black vampire cleric with flying. Whenever another creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. This effect just exists. This is just perfectly reasonable. Dross Priest is a 4-mana 2/2 black devil. When Dross Priest enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of creatures. You gain 2 life for each creature sacrificed this way. That's fun. I'm sure there's a combo in there if you wanted to make a broken combo. And the thing is, like, I'm kind of not worrying too much about, like, broken combos because you need to get the other pieces to the combo. Like, that inherently limits its power level. Constructed Nexus is a 3-mana 2/2 red Goblin Artificer. When Constructed Nexus dies, you may return a target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, interesting. 3-mana 2/2. It's an artifact, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to throw this into the deck, into the list, because I saved some previous cards that were really decent cheat spells, like being able to bring something from the graveyard to the battlefield. This does something different by hitting artifacts, and since there's a lot of artifact creatures, oftentimes it's not even going to be a limitation. It's only upside, because you can pull it like a Dreadnought or something ridiculous, yeah. Hell's Wharf is a 2-mana red instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Okay. Hell's Wharf deals 2 damage to target creature and each other creature. Huh. So this is a 2 damage wrath, right? It destroys everything on the field if they have 2 health or left and marks damage on everything that survives. So oftentimes, the thing you sacrifice is going to die anyway. So... interesting. I like it. I don't think it's... yeah, I like it. Despotic Witch is a 4-mana 3/2 red devil. Despotic Witch can't block. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Oh, that's fun. Again, I don't think this is overpowered, but I really like that. I'm so used to seeing you, like, make yourself bigger, whereas this is, like, slowly killing stuff. It's potentially better. That's cool. Probably too slow, but I like it. Violent Devil is a 4-mana 2/3 black devil. Whenever Violent Devil attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It comes for the squeal. I have not been reading flavor text. I need to do a series where I just do flavor text, because most times I read everything but the flavor text, so how is that really different than me doing it and reading only the flavor text? I think I could get away from that with that. Netherborn Corpse is a 4-mana 2/4 black zombie. When Netherborn Corpse dies, it deals 2 damage to any target. That's nice. Good for them. Tormenting Ghoul is a 3-mana 2/2 red devil. At the beginning of your upkeep, Tormenting Ghoul deals 2 damage to you. That's bad. Altar of the Brood is a 2-mana 1/1 red devil. Sacrifice a creature. Altar of the Brood gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Not good enough. Barren Devil is a 3-mana 2/2 red devil. It's black. It's a black devil. I'm sorry. It has flying, and for black, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Cool. Doomed Boon is a 3-mana black instant. Choose one. Creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. Cool. You gain 2 life. Cool. Entwine for 2. Choose both if you pay the Entwine cost. I can never remember how Entwine works. Is that an alternate cost or an additional cost? Is Entwine kicker? Or is Entwine, like, I don't know. There's a word for it. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying. Either way, I don't really care. Rotting Abomination is a 5-mana 4/3 black insect horror. For black and sacrifice Rotting Abomination, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. I have a feeling like this theme, this keyword that we're using, this term, is not going to get us anything interesting, and I should really just start over and make new terms, but I don't know. I mean, all cards are random at a certain point. Hungry Imp is a 3-mana 2/2 red devil flying and haste. For 2 mana, Hungry Imp gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Seems pretty good to me. The Mindslaver is a 2-mana 2/2 red devil with flying. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. That's pretty good. I don't know if I would feel gross. I don't think I'd feel gross running this. I just think that's a good card. That's just a good card. I like it. It's very good. But, like... yeah. Subterranean Turmoil is a 2-mana black instant. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Okay. It gains haste until end of turn. Okay. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Less good. Still pretty good, though. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. It's any graveyard. Doesn't have to be your own. It's 2 mana. I'll have to see how that compares to, like, actual real Magic cards. Again, I don't think I'd feel gross for it, but I think it is pretty good. I think it's worth being in the conversation. Ruinous Labyrinth Devourer is a 5-mana red 6/5 devil. Whenever Ruinous Labyrinth Devourer attacks, exile a creature defending player controls until Ruinous Labyrinth Devourer leaves the battlefield. I love this. It is a 5-mana card. It's coming down so late. It doesn't have haste or anything. It could definitely be more pushed, right? That's kind of my big stopping point, is whenever I see a card, I'm like, well, that could have been stronger, though, right? That could have been better. It could have been. I don't know. It's the AI. It could do whatever it wants. It could have been better. But, repeated jailer effects are so cool. It just has no protection, so it probably just dies, and then all the exile stuff comes back. Still think it's cool, though. Lucifer's Anger is a 5-mana 3/3 red devil. Whenever Lucifer's Anger or another devil enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. For 5 mana, that's not good enough. You could be way stronger. Cool card, though. I should say, I've been really liking the names of these cards. I love the idea of devils that have these, like, really weird, like, phrase names. I feel like they feel very appropriate. Like, what is this devil? This devil is the cruelty of kittens. And you're like, what? Yeah, that's what this devil represents, right? Devils are, like, weird little mini-gods. Stinging Wind is a 5-mana 2/4 red elemental. It has flying and for red. Stinging Wind deals 2 damage to any target. For 5 mana, that's a lot, but it is a 2/4 flyer, and 2 damage for only 1 mana ping is pretty strong. I feel like you don't see 2 to 1 on ping very often. Gargoyle Soothsayer is a 6-mana 4/4 red devil. When Gargoyle Soothsayer enters the battlefield, target opponent chooses one of their hands, and you choose one of your hands. Whenever you cast a spell, Gargoyle Soothsayer deals 4 damage to that player. I see what happened on this card. I love this. This is exactly what I want to show to somebody when they ask, like, tell me about AI Magic cards. I'm like, okay, here's a card. It's a 6-mana 4/4. It doesn't seem very good. Nah, it's not that great. Okay, but when it enters the battlefield, target opponent chooses one of their hands. Wait, like the real hands or like hands of cards? Hands of cards. We're not playing unmagic here, of course. This is not an unset. Okay, so I only have one choice. Yes, you just choose your actual hand of cards. Okay, sure. Then what? Then I will choose one of my hands of cards. Okay. Now what? Well, from now on, whenever I cast a spell, Gargoyle Soothsayer will deal 4 damage to the player I chose. Wait, so did choosing our hands do anything? No, but I did target you, so the second line of text has a target that it's referring to. I choose a target and it stays true for the remainder of the time that this is on the battlefield. Still pretty good, too, also. Like, I mean, it's 6 mana. Again, it's coming in late, but if you, like, throw down this and then you can, like, weave together some Spellslinger stuff, you're doing 4, 8, 12. Like, that's gonna add up. I love this card. That is everything that AI Magic is. That is the perfect example of AI Magic. I'm so happy. Malicious Blackguard is a 4-mana 2/2 red devil. When Malicious Blackguard enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. Ooh. Huh. For 4 mana, it's a 2/2. It will hit itself. Yeah, because it's when it enters the battlefield and it doesn't have flying. So this is just a 4 mana, deal 2 damage to all creatures. We saw that effect for 2 mana earlier, with the additional cost of sacrificing a creature. Cool. Molten Devil is a 3-mana black 3/3 devil. When Molten Devil or another devil creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a 3/3 black devil creature token. We got infinite, baby! Woo! We did it! We finally got an infinite card. This will see itself enter the battlefield and create a devil. And then it will see that devil enter and make another devil. Now, here's the question. Is this actually fitting the bill of the question, right? Is this card unplayably overpowered? Actually, literally, if you play this, the game ends in a stalemate unless somebody can, like, kill it? to end the chain, right? The only way that this is actually... The thing is, this card is so broken that it's not useful. If you play this, if you say, I pass priority to you, do you have any responses? And they say no, and it comes back to you, and you say, I also have nothing? I mean, that's not how priority works, but stay with me. Every time that there's a new devil, you go through that loop, right? Do you have anything? I have anything. Da, 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 da. So I could say, I play Molten Devil. After the 8th devil, after the 100 millionth devil, I'm gonna cast Lightning Bolt and kill my devil. Okay? I could do that. And then, Molten Devil dies, so it no longer sees new devils enter the battlefield, and so I just have a million devils now. Which is a pretty strong 2-card combo when you think about it, for only 4 mana, if you assume Lightning Bolt exists in this scenario. But if your opponent doesn't have any interaction, and you don't have any interaction, this just ends the game in a stalemate. Because if an action... I've looked into this before, because I do a lot of stuff with AI Magic. If an action would go infinite, and both players declare that they have no way of breaking the chain, it just becomes a stalemate. It just ends in a draw. Which just makes this kind of like... I mean, it definitely gets into the list of unplayably overpowered, because either you make a million devils, you make a million 3/3s, or anytime you would lose the game, you can play this to not lose to go to a draw instead. Which is pretty gross. You can't get much grosser than that. It's just a 3 mana, the game ends in a draw spell, right? Like, that's... You're not going to win by playing that spell, but you're also, like, never going to lose games if that's in your deck. But we got some good ones. Look at that. Look at us. Frilled Devil is a 3 mana, 3/2 red devil with flying. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Frilled Devil this turn dies, that creature's controller may draw a card. I kind of like this as a design. I like cards that have downsides. And downsides in the form of an upside for your opponent is more interesting than just being a downside, right? It means that your opponent has more material to use, which makes the game more interesting, but it also means that, you don't have less material, right? So something that's like, ETB, discard a card from your hand or something, right? Like, okay, I'm down a card, and I have this creature that is bigger than its mana should normally allow. It's way more interesting to say my opponent is up a card. That's just, like, more interesting for everybody involved. I don't know. I think that's really, really interesting. Now, for 3 mana, a 3/2 flyer is just, like, that's fine. You could just print that vanilla. But if this was, like, a 5/5 flyer or a 6/6 flyer, I think this would be a really cool card. Really, really cool card. I like this card a lot, actually. As a concept, I should move on. This is not what this series is about. But, legit, like, the AI comes with some really cool concepts, and I think that they are, even if they're not final designs that are interesting, or perfect, they get you thinking. Dispersal is a 3 mana black instant. It destroys target creature or enchantment, which is a very good card, but not good enough for us. Starfaring Rogue is a 3 mana black instant. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Not good enough. Even if it was just draw 2 cards, I wouldn't call that good enough. Krovakon Miasma is a 3 mana 2/1 red devil. For red, Krovakon Miasma gets +1/+0 until end of turn, but it can only be activated once. Absolutely garbage. Skulking Devil is a 3 mana 2/1 red devil with flying. Red Skulking Devil gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Activate only if you control a devil, so it's just a 3 mana 2/1 flyer with fire breathing. I wonder what the going rate for a 2/1 flyer with fire breathing is. Cool. Necromancer's Pit is a 2 mana 2/2 red devil. When Necromancer's Pit enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Very good so far. For 3 mana, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Necromancer's Pit, Activate only if there are 3 or more +1/+1 counters on Necromancer's Pit. That's fun. I don't know how you're going to get 3 counters on this, but if you can, that's a pretty good rate from then on. And probably doesn't matter that much, because it's not like it has trample, like, who cares? And once this thing's already a 5/5, it's not that big a deal to make it into a 7/7. Good ETB, though, dang. Scary. Scary ETB. I'd run that, though. I wouldn't feel bad about it. That's, like, what the tier list should be. It should be, like, how gross do I feel playing this card? Not actually, like, how powerful. It's just, like, how much of a jerk do I feel like? Drownyard Devil. Didn't we already see one that was named that? Drownyard Devil is a 2-mana 1/1 black devil with Swamp Walk. For 2 mana, sacrifice Drowned Devil, destroy target non-basic land. Huh, that's cool. I mean, land removal does inherently make me feel like a jerk, but I don't think this is even that strong. That's the other thing, I've made so many AI cards that if you're like, oh, this is 2 mana, draw 4, I'm like, I've seen better. You know what I mean? Or this is like, oh yeah, this thing, you know, it's 4 mana, sacrifice a non-basic. Or destroy target non-basic. First of all, like, Stone Rain's better than that. But even if it wasn't, like, I've seen, like, 2 mana destroy all lands. Like, I've seen such ridiculous things. Goblin Catcher is a 2 mana red 2/1 goblin. Not goblin. Devil. This devil is catching goblins. It has flying, and whenever Goblin Catcher deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life. This is basically a 2 mana 3/1 flyer. Enraged Devil is a 2 mana 2/1 black devil. When Enraged Devil enters the battlefield, target creature gets +X/+X until their turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Huh, if we just consider this like a sorcery, like a 2 mana sorcery spell that has that effect, is that good? It's a pretty cool pump. I don't think it's the most busted pump in the game. You gotta, like, activate it first. Kinda cool. Setback Devil is a 2 mana... Wait. Scarback Devil is a 2 mana red 1/1 devil. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may gain 1 life. I do like sacrifice payoffs. They're just inherently worse than when a creature you control dies payoffs. Flavorful Flames is a 2 mana black instant. As additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. As long as you control a creature, Flavorful Flames deals 1 damage to each opponent. Huh. The wording on this is weird, but I assume it's like, if when this spell resolves, you control a creature, this deals damage to each opponent. Which is not good, but whatever. I kind of like that as a design, right? Additional cost to cast this, sacrifice a creature. If you still have a creature, do this effect. Otherwise, the spell fails. It's kind of an interesting idea. Spawning Devil. I hope this is a broken as Spawning Leviathan. 3 mana 2/2 black devil. When Spawning Devil enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to target opponent or planeswalker, where X is the number of creatures that died this turn. Huh. Cool. It's a fun, like... I could see that being, like, the final piece of a really interesting combo. Barrow Stalker is a 3 mana 2/2 black devil. When Barrow Stalker enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of creatures. Oh, I love it. That's so fun. It's just useless. I mean, there's gonna be, like, that's what I'm saying, like, yes, this card could definitely be the final piece in a very cool combo that, like, wins you the game. That doesn't make it unplayably overpowered. It is inherently bad outside of that very specific situation. That's so funny, though. Whisperhorn Devil is a 2 mana 2/1 red devil. It has fear. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. For black, Whisperhorn Devil deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to target player. Actually, that's pretty good. Actually, that's actually great. It's only 2 mana to get down. Oh, wow, that's actually great. I kind of, like, I almost skipped right past this, but I guess the funny thing about this is that you need a target. Yeah, but you could put the target on the stack, right? Yeah, as long as there's a creature to target, which it could target itself, I think. You could then activate this 20 times. even though after the first one resolves, Whisperhorn Devil dies, the effect on the ability on the stack doesn't fizzle unless all targets are untargetable, I believe. That's my understanding of Magic. And so it would still target player. Whereas if there was no creatures available to target, but again, it can target itself, then you would need at least one creature before you could even use the ability at all. That is my understanding of Magic. And, like, yeah, you have to get the mana, but being able to just 1-for-1 ping your opponent in the face, I think is pretty strong. And you get to ping a creature at the same time? This is, like, the coolest pinger I think I've ever seen. This is rad. I like that a lot. And it's cheap enough to get down on the field. Not even a bad body. It's a 2-1 with fear. That's, like, not horrible. Redcap/Redcap. Now, worth pointing out for anyone who's new and has not been watching these AI videos, the AI will sometimes make cards whose names are reminiscent of split cards. If you ever go to, like, Scryfall, this is the way a split card is written. It's, like, name/name. It can't actually render a split card, though. We don't know what the other half of the split card would look like. So we just treat this as a regular card. That's not a split card. Doesn't have any of the benefits of being a split card. We just ignore that, but that's why the name is written that way. Redcap/Redcap is a 2-mana 1/1 red devil. For red and tap, target devil creature gains first strike until end of turn. That sounds like a pretty... Honestly, like, if you were just making, like, an interesting themed devil deck, a lot of these would be really fun cards to run, but yeah. Not what we're looking for right now. Dismantling Wave is a 2-mana red instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Pretty cool. Even if that could just said destroy target non-land permanent, I still wouldn't call that broken, because I've just seen such powerful things. Scuttlemutt is a 3-mana black 3/2 zombie wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature they control. I love that specification that you can only sacrifice a creature that they control. That's just the rules of the game, my dude. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player... So this is kind of fun, right? It reminds me of... like, people talk about how Howling Mine, each player's upkeep, they draw a card. You are the last person to gain the benefit. Here, you're the last person to gain the downside, which is kind of interesting. If Scuttlemutt makes it all, like, back to you, if you're playing, like, Commander, there's 4 players, like, this goes up in value, but if you're playing 2-player, still, it's just, there's a lot of cards that are just, like, each player sacrifices something, and people often just play them as, like, a kill spell, in a way. This being like, you sacrifice, then it comes back to me, and I just sacrifice my Scuttlemutt. That's a thing you do a lot of the time, I think, probably. But even if not, if you just have things on your board you're willing to sacrifice, like tokens, I think this card's pretty good. A 4-mana 3/2 is not amazing, but... I'm happy for it to be in the conversation, at least. Puncturing Slash is a 3-mana red instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. That sucks. Okay. Dark Rascal is a 3-mana 2/2 red devil. For red and sacrifice a land, Dark Rascal deals 2 damage to any target. That is such an expensive pinger. Holy crap. What? No! Elite Caterin Mercenary is a 2-mana 2/2 black vampire soldier. Whenever Elite Caterin Mercenary or another creature dies, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. It's not horrible. We saw this effect very similarly earlier, right? Where it was like, when something dies, make a thing. Is it you control? It's just another creature dies. Like, again, I can just imagine the version of this where you don't have to pay every time something dies, and that's so much stronger. But what's kind of cool about this is that if you didn't have to pay, for this effect to be, like, fair, according to, like, real Magic, it would have to be, like, when a non-token creature dies. But here, because you're paying this extra 1, and you can't just pay an infinite number of times, it can get away with it targeting tokens as well, or like triggering off of tokens as well, which I think makes this card actually really interesting. Like from as far as like a real card goes, I don't like again. I'm not gonna feel bad playing this card, but you know, very cool. I like that. Sorry, I hovered on that one a bit too long. I think Desert Elite is a 4-mana 3/4 black zombie. Remember how this was called Devil Cupcakes? Yeah, we're getting some desserts eventually, finally. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if you control an enchantment, put a food counter on Desert Elite. Sorry, Dessert Elite. I got it wrong immediately. If there are food counters on it, draw a card. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if you control an enchantment, put a food counter on this. Then, if there are food counters on it, draw a card. So after the first one, it doesn't matter. This basically just means at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if you control an enchantment, draw a card. Except, if you lose an enchantment, like if you lose all of your enchantments, you no longer control any, but you previously already triggered this, it will continue to give you cards, which is pretty cool. Very, very weird. It also isn't a May, which is funny, so this will just, like, it technically just keeps gaining food counters, if that ever mattered. Which is just funny to me. I also like the idea that a food counter, like, makes it count as a food and you could sacrifice it. Like, it would gain the ability. You know, like, keyword counters? Like, this is a flying keyword. It means it has flying. And this is a food counter. It means it has the food ability that all food has. That'd be funny. Treasure counter. It has the treasure ability. Honestly, I kind of like that. They should do that. Wizards do that. That's cool. Food counter, treasure counter, clue counter, blood counter. Blood counters probably exist, actually. That sounds like the kind of thing they would have done. Oh, well. Bloated One is a 4-mana black 3/2 zombie. When Bloated One dies, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This card is good and not as strong as other cards we've already seen in this series, I think, that do the same effect. Haunted High Priest is a 2-mana black devil. It's a 1/1 with generic and black, return Haunted High Priest to its owner's hand. Boring and useless. Devilish Trickster is a 3-mana black 2/1 devil. Whenever Devilish Trickster deals combat damage to a player, you may pay generic and black. If you do, draw a card. You could have just triggered on attack, honestly. Hollowback Baker is a 4-mana 2/2 black devil. Whenever a creature you control dies, if it was a zombie, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. Dang it! If it put them on this, that would be useful. The zombie's dead already. It doesn't get to hold the counters. Is it my dream, or is it reality? I don't know. It sounds like it's a dream. It's not gonna work the way you want. Molten Death is a 3-mana 3/3 black Phyrexian horror. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Molten Death unless you pay black. This is just a 3-mana 3/3 with downside. Ah! And the reason I'm so upset is that this is our last card for today. That is all we've got time for at the moment, unfortunately. Due to our theme, we only got black and red cards. So I think next time I'm going to have to choose a very explicitly non-black and red themed keyword so we can get some variety in here. Maybe white and blue or white and green could be kind of interesting. If you have any ideas for keywords, leave them in the comments, please. This is the first one that I am recording after episode 1 has been released. So thank you everyone for commenting on that video. The support was amazing. I did not expect so much from everybody. I know the format's kind of shifted since that first episode, so let me know what you think. Probably you'll have already let me know what you think in episode 2, because again, that one's not out yet, even though I'm recording this one now. So please let me know how you're liking the format, change and shifts, and all those interesting bits and bobs. I'm really excited to see the series through, and I'm very excited for eventually do a cool tier list of all these cards. Something like Not Broken, Broken for Real Magic, strong cards that I don't feel bad of playing, and then like strong cards I feel gross playing, and strong cards that you should not forgive me for playing. I don't know. I need to come up with some tier list labels. Alright. I've been DarcyBits. Thank you for watching Unplayably Overpowered. I will catch you next time. Have a good night.